Nobody knows how to close out a game anymore. I don't know where this came from, how this happened, but I mean, just over the last few days, I mean, just look at this. The Celtics, 20-point lead in game one against New York. Game goes to overtime. Knicks find a way to win. Talk about later on that day, the Nuggets, a 121-119 win in Oklahoma City. Where just take a look at this win probability chart, people. I mean, look at this. The Thunder are at a 95% chance of winning the game with 2:40 left and a 7-point lead. And then it starts to turn a little bit. Okay, it's a 1-point game now. Thunder should still hold on. 2 missed free throws and an Aaron Gordon game winner later. And Denver finds a way to steal game one in OKC. Then things get even crazier than that yesterday. The Pacers once again have found a way to cheat death and the basketball gods by winning a game they should not have in Cleveland. In a game that, yes, Cleveland was missing 3 starters. That doesn't matter. They had a pretty decent lead at some point. I mean, look at this. At one point, they had a 20-point lead in the second quarter. You say, well, that's, that's the second quarter. That can change over time. Still at a 14-point lead with 1 second left in the third quarter. I don't know what's gotten into people. I don't know if people just can't close a game out anymore. I don't know if it's just some new modern NBA phenomenon, but you look at it, Tyler, this is shaping up to be one of the weirdest, best, craziest second rounds I think we've ever had. If you're a home team, you have not won a game yet. They're 0-5. Boston had a 16-point lead against New York in game 2 as we're recording this. That's already been cut to 9 and it's halftime. So who knows? If New York pulls that out, we might get a little bit crazier. I would think Boston hangs on as of the time we're recording this, but with how everything's been going, you can't really be safe about anything.
No lead is safe in professional basketball, okay? You should know that by now. Usually we see that in regular season where you get back-to-back nights, things of that nature. But to your point, should not be happening at this rate in the postseason. It's wild.
No, I mean, it should not be happening at all. And I don't really understand where this is coming from. I mean, let's go back to Boston. Let's just kind of rewind our way through how these kinds of games are happening. Boston's the really easy one to explain. You look at the 3-point shots. You look at 3-point differential. New York made 2 more threes than Boston did, 17-15. Boston missed 45 threes. I mean, 15 for 60. That gets you a nice, even 25%, which, we don't see that often. You never see a true clean 25.0. That's weird enough in and of itself. But 45 missed threes. It was a playoff record broken by the Timberwolves earlier in the first round, if you remember us talking about that. Boston has now broken that record again, and the Knicks couldn't miss. 46% from 3 when you round it up. It was a game where OG Anunoby was just absolutely destroying people. Brunson was going off. Miles McBride was having a great shooting day. The Knicks were doing everything they needed to do to come back. Jalen Brunson, once again, is that guy. He just is. He's super clutch. You have to deal with it. And Boston just kept relying on threes. They weren't falling. Jaylen Brown, 1 for 10. Derek White, 5 for 16. Tatum, 4 for 15. Drew Holiday, 2 for 7. It just was not Boston's day. And you can understand. We could take a look and then say, okay, that's one game in one series where Boston, a team we know is going to shoot a lot of threes, they just had an off night. That happens in the NBA. That happens in the playoffs. You're going to have some weird games like that. That's completely understandable. What I don't get, and Tyler, you will elaborate further than this because you are a Thunder fan. I thought about calling you after the game, but I realized that that's the worst time to call someone right after a brutal loss like this happens because they don't want to talk to anyone. And B,
I mean, for internet, I would have done it for the culture, but go ahead.
you would have done it for the culture. Okay, I respect that. I'll put you on speed dial
Note that down.
if
Yeah.
something happens tonight, but I don't think it will. But we'll have to see because this could be an entire video of itself. The Jokic versus SGA series, I always love when people say that because they're not going to guard each other unless it's a weird circumstance. Yeah. But, player v player, 2 best players in the league by far this season. And man, it was a good game. I mean, back and forth, not really. Oklahoma City kind of felt like the better team the majority of the game, but Denver did what a championship team is designed to do. They hung around and hung around and hung around. And when you do that long enough, crazy things can happen. And what happened at the end of that game? First of all, let's talk about what happened throughout the game, though. There's an Oklahoma City team that had an amazing performance off the bench from Alex Caruso. 20 points, 5 threes, played great defense, 5 steals. I mean, my God, 2 blocks as well. It was the Caruso show in OKC. But other than that, I mean, Shea did his thing, 33, 10, and 8. It's very weird to say that normally, but that's just what he does. You have to accept that. And then the combination of Jalen Williams, J Dub, and Chet, just 28 combined points, which is not what you want to see. Now, Chet had his good plays defensively, but all that's going to be remembered from this is the 2 missed free throws at the end and the weird strategy from Mark Daignault to foul in that situation when you're up by 3. And it's the correct play when you let it play out. But when you're fouling half a second after Denver scores, or when Denver's trying to score, I should say, why? That was the number one question I think across the state of Oklahoma. Just why do you do that? Because if something goes wrong, it sets up what we saw. And Aaron Gordon hits an open 3. He had 22 on the night. He had a great day. Jokic, of course, doing his thing. 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, it was just a crazy day for Jokic. I know the MVP is not really a playoff award, but man, if it continued into it, this would be one of those defining moments, I think, again for him.
Oh, it would. I mean, and it was a game where Jokic the entire time looked like he felt they were going to lose. Like he was upset. He was not happy. OKC had him frustrated, but you look up at the end of the night, and there he is, 42-22, like you mentioned. And Aaron Gordon, I think, was really kind of the secret behind this all because there was a lot of moments in that game, especially when Denver's trying to come back, where Jokic would not be able to complete a play or he'd have to be the outlet guy. And look, Michael Porter Jr., he had an ice on his shoulder. He wasn't on. You could tell he was not playing to what he wanted to. And Jamal Murray, after the first quarter, disappeared. So lo and behold, here comes Aaron Gordon to be the guy that steps up and says, hey, I'm going to give Joker some support and we're going to get this done. So kudos to him for that. And then, one thing about that strategy, and people I think rightfully say, well, it's not what you did, it's how you did it. In the post game presser, I love that Mark Dagnall took accountability for that. So that's not on the players. I told them to do it that way. They execute it that way. We're going to have to take a look at that. How many times have you seen a coach just say, yeah, that was the right deal, and I'm not going to really speak further about that, right? He's willing to say, yeah, I messed up, right? Same with Chet. Chet Holmgren took accountability after the game, said, I got to be better. We haven't put in all this work for me to go out there and do that.
Yeah.
So the fact that these guys took that accountability to me, yeah, the loss sucked, but to see them take that accountability gives me more hope going forward.
Yeah, and it'll be intriguing to see how everything plays out for game 2 here. It should be mentioned you talked about Michael Porter Jr. 1 for 8, just
Yeah.
unacceptable in a playoff game when you're a heat check type of guy. Can't be doing that. And it was smart coaching by, well, I mean, do we really want to say who the coach of the Nuggets is? Because there were moments where Jokic looked like he was the coach of the Nuggets. I mean, there was the clip that
Yeah.
went viral of him in the timeout. Just you go here, you do this, you do that. It was like, okay, Jokic should be paid whatever money he wants. He's literally doing everything out there for them. And then Russell Westbrook comes in, does his thing, 7 for 13, a few rebounds, a few assists, but 18 points, the +4. It's what you want from a guy off the bench. That's what Westbrook provided. Felt in the zone, got the nice ovation from the OKC fans. That's been a topic of debate the past few days. Should you applaud Russell Westbrook or not? And then for the Thunder, I mean, it all goes back to what I talked about with Chet. And then J Dub is kind of the weird talked about but not talked about. When you go 5 for 20 in a playoff game and you're supposed to be the number 2 guy, that's gonna sting. But so many other weird things happened late that I don't want to say he got off scot-free because he did not. But you've got to be better than that. You have to show up here in this game too and assert yourself.
You do. You do. There's no doubt about it. And I think, we haven't touched on this. I want to get to this part. I mentioned, Aaron Gordon stepping up when the time was needed. Something that happened with SGA, I noticed in that game as it reached its crescendo, right? Of the Nuggets making that comeback. Down the stretch of that, leading into it, for whatever reason, and I don't know what possessed him to do it because he hasn't been this guy, is SGA decided, I'm going to make some ISO plays. Like, I'm going to go at these guys one on one. And there's times um, where certainly that's a big part of his game, but the way he went about it in that instance was a lot more, I don't want to say indecisive, but it was rushed. Like, he didn't get comfortable in his shot selection. Typically, when he's going on those ISOs, he's got something cooked up. He's in his bag, hit step back, something like that. But those situations, for whatever reason, he just wasn't in that type of zone. So that was kind of odd to see. And that contributed on top of, as we're talking about, the supporting cast random, other than Alex Caruso, just was not there when they needed to be able to make sure you fend off Denver.
Absolutely. And so that was a weird enough game. I mean, that combo that happened on Monday was everyone's going, okay, this is going to be an amazing second round. This is going to be awesome if we continue to get great games like this. And then we get to game 2 in Cleveland. And keep in mind, Indiana's already up 1-0 going into this, had the big upset in game 1 that shocked a decent amount of people. And then Cleveland rolls out a lineup where, I mean, let's just look at their starting lineup here, for example, because Cleveland has 3 guys you're not playing. You're starting Dean Wade, Max Strus, and Ty Jerome, which, fair enough. Donovan Mitchell goes off for 48, just an insane game for Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen and Dean Wade. Do you know how bad it? Well, I don't want to say bad because he's been fine this season, but do you want to know how bad it is when you're the number 1 seed in the East and Dean Wade's getting 30 minutes out there? Like you've got Sam Merrill and Isaac Okoro who are coming off the bench as your 6th and 7th guys to try to save the day, and it was working. Cleveland's up 20 points in the second quarter, and everything is just going just fine. But then Cleveland, they can't get their shots to fall. Mitchell's 1 for 7 for 3. Max Strus is the only guy that's starting that can hit a bucket. Sam Merrill's the only guy off the bench that can hit a 3. And what does Indiana do? They do with the sign of a team that has been through this before. They just keep crawling. You just find a way to wiggle back, make this somewhat of a game. And once it got down to about a 10-point game, you could kind of start to feel it like, okay, Indiana's been through this before. If they can get this to 5, this is going to get scary for Cleveland. And it got to 5. And then it gets to 3. And then it gets down to a missed free throw tipped back to Halliburton, who holds off, gets the game-winning 3. And I mean, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe what I was watching, that Cleveland's just going to let this game slip away from them. But there were moments where they just kind of panicked a little bit. They didn't look like that Cavs team we had seen the entire year. And some of that I get. You're down 3 starters. You don't have your typical guys who are ready for those situations. But at the same time, you're in the playoffs. There's no time to panic. You have to be prepared for anything and everything. Indiana was, and Cleveland wasn't in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it boiled down to. And that was shocking to see, regardless of all the extra factors going on there. And is it time to talk about the apology that is owed to Tyrese Halliburton? Is it
I
time
think
to
that
talk
was
about that?
I think the time was after the first round, to be honest with you, but now is definitely the time
Fair,
to talk
fair.
about it.
I mean, the guy's been everything opposite of overrated, right? Stepped up, done the work, and sure, there's a good core around that Indiana team, but it's just one of those things where sometimes the discourse online gets a little too much, you know, and it kind of takes over a narrative. Tyrese Halliburton is having that, moment where he's a guy that could say, "Hey, I'm a top star, right? If you're talking building a team, I'm one of the guys you need to build around. Like, period. That's it." So good on him for that, and it'd be interesting to see how he continues to try to affect the series.
Yeah, and I mean, this was just a big enough win for Indiana where you start to wonder about what a game 3 is going to look like going back home. If you're Indiana, I mean, you have all the momentum now, and Cleveland's going to get healthier. But man, if everything goes right for Indiana, you were calling me crazy for this, and that's fair enough. There's a potential. I'm going to throw this scenario out there mainly so it doesn't happen. You're welcome, Adam Silver. But there's a way that Indiana could sweep Cleveland. And it would be
Sleep.
a very weird way to sweep them. But think about what Indiana's had to battle through in the first 2 games. Think about where Cleveland's mental state has to be. You expect them to be tough. That's expected of an NBA player. But what happens if Indiana comes in and starts shooting well to start game 3 at home? You have all the
A
momentum
sweep.
already built into it. You have everything going your way. If Indiana finds a way to go up 3-0, I'm not going to say Cleveland rolls over and dies, but Indiana will have all that confidence to just, let's take care of business. Let's finish this thing. We think we're the better team. We're playing like the better team. Let's get this job done. I don't think a sweep is going to happen, but I think the possibility has now presented itself, which is a crazy sentence to say. But if Miles Turner can keep playing well, if Andrew Nembhard, 13 and 13 with 7 boards, I mean, he was almost on triple-double watch. That's where we're at for Indiana right now. They are playing their A-plus basketball. Indiana made the conference finals last year. Everyone seems to forget that except Celtics fans and Pacers fans. They were in the conference finals last year. This isn't some inexperienced team. They know how to get here. They've got a great coach in Rick Carlisle. They have guys, and they're just here. Once again, ready to take the mantle and make that push once more. Indiana is going to be a story to continue to watch. And then for Cleveland, I mean, just, you're going to get healthier. You are the better team in this series, at least on paper. But you're now down to 0-2. You know you can still win this series, but that mountain starts to get a little bit steeper to climb back up. You try to get your guys back. You know Ty Jerome's not going to go 1 for 14 again. At least I hope not. That'd be horrific. Had only 2 points that entire game. I mean, it was bad. But just, you're going to have to see when these guys get healthy. You can get Garland back, Hunter back, Mobley back. You're going to have these guys to win. Donovan Mitchell drops 48 and they still find a way to blow that game. I don't know what else to tell you if you're Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. It's not a good outlook. I don't know about rollover, but as you lay it out, I could see the point you're making about the sweep. It's not so much that Indiana is that good, but you do get to a point where you wonder if, you know, Cleveland has just got the heart to do it at this point, right? They
Yeah.
kind of see the writing on the wall, realize, hey, maybe this wasn't our year like we thought due to some of those unfortunate injuries and how things played out. So I could see it from that angle. But if Cleveland decides, hey, we are going to be the team we've been, I could see them taking care of business. But I do agree with the fact that, and hey, I'll admit, same way where you forget that Indiana has had some battle test moments, right? You don't get to the conference finals last year by just being a lucky team.
No, you don't get it. And that's one of the things that kind of, I don't want to say bugs me about NBA stuff, some media sometimes, where it's just, oh, and Indiana's here. Okay, are we going to talk about it? Was like that last year. If you remember last year, it was all about, yeah, crown Boston the champions already. They're going to the fun. No one cared that Indiana climbed this mountain to get here. It had been forever. They were just the team that was supposed to get beat up by Boston, and they played Boston well. Here they are once again, and again, the narrative is going to be more about how Cleveland choked game 2 than how Indiana has continued to be this massive story that no one really wants to seem to talk about.
Yeah, and I can see that as a small market guy being annoyed because I feel like to a degree that happened with the Thunder, right? Oh, hey, you won 68 games, but who cares? You're not LA, so we're not even going to worry about you in the playoffs.
Final check on Celtics Knicks here while we're recording this. Still a 10-point game. Nothing has gone crazy yet in Boston. I was going to say, if I cut back to this and it was like a 2-point game, that would just add to the point of how weird the second round has been. So I thought we were done with recording stuff for this video about, uh, you know, blown leads. I thought, if you're watching this, you're going, okay, this is a little weird. I did not expect to do this. This was just at the last minute. I wanted to wait and see how this Boston New York game played out. And what do you know? Boston blew a 20-point lead again. This keeps happening. I'm going to go insane, Tyler. Nobody can close out a game anymore. I am going to go insane.
Little known fact, Cade, the C in Celtic stands for choker.
Yeah, I'd guess. I mean, look at the win probability chart here. I mean, it's at 98% for Boston in the third quarter. 98.1. I'm sure it's a little bit. No, there it is. There's a 99% hidden in there that I can't scroll over at the moment. but you could see it flicker. There it is. 20-point lead, 2:34 to go in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson misses a 28-point or a 28-foot three-pointer. And then it goes all the way, and New York, credit to the Knicks, first of all. A lot of credit to the Knicks deserved on this. I don't want to turn this into just a Boston is choking nonstop, but they are. The Knicks are taking full advantage of it. They're making Boston just uncomfortable. That's what they're doing. Jason Tatum, god awful, 5 for 19, 13 points, had more rebounds than points. I mean, it was ugly.
Wait, Jason Tatum played in this game?
I
I didn't even know him out there. Oh my goodness.
Tyler, this is what you get for telling me you were predicting big games. This is a whole running joke we had going on off air.
I don't recollect that.
Okay.
So
I remember it, so you don't have to. There you
go. We're good.
Derek White.
We're talking about
Derek White, Jaylen Brown. I mean, 20 points apiece, but the Knicks, once again, Josh Hart ends up stepping up. Jalen Brunson got the big buckets at the end as expected. Cat had a nice day. Mikal Bridges just goes off in the fourth quarter out of nowhere, and Boston just chokes another game. And I mean, this is just another point to nobody knows what's going on in this second round. Nobody can close out a game. We are now 4 games away from Pacers Knicks in the conference finals out east. Crazy.
And somewhere David Stern sheds a tear. But no, I mean, this is the defending champs. This isn't just, a Boston team where it's supposed to be their time or this or that. This is the defending champion Boston Celtics. What is going on?
I don't know anymore. Does this make you more nervous for what's about to happen with Denver playing Oklahoma City?
Different situation, but I mean nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. I mean, this is the weirdest second round I can think of in a long time. This is the weirdest playoff round in general I can think of in the NBA that we've had. No home team has still won yet. We're now, 0-6 now, I believe? Just nobody can win. It's incredible. Road teams never lost. # never lost. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I have no idea what's going on anymore. Just wanted to wait and see and said, you know what? It'll be funny. We joked about it at the end of the video that it was a 9-point game at halftime and we'd see what happened. And sure enough, it happened again. All right. We'll call the video here because this is crazy. I'm not coming back to this again. There will be no editor's note part 2 if a choke happens in the Thunder Nuggets game. I'm sorry if you're watching.
Why not?
You know what? That would be its own separate video if that does happen because I'm not editing this twice. I'm not doing double the work. And also at that point, we have an entirely different conversation to have for its own video that, Tyler, you're probably not going to want to be friends with me after that, but we'll save that.
Hey, I am a fan, but I'm also an analyst first, even if it's got to be on my own.
Okay.
So,
well,
it is what it is.
If the Thunder do something,
a whole family account.
Yeah, if the Thunder do something stupid tonight, we'll have another video out. But if not, as always, once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to always be notified when new videos come out. And leave a like as well. If you made it this far in the video, just feel free to like it. Seems pretty self-explanatory. You can leave a comment down below. If you want to get your Celtics or Chokers comments out of the way, this is the place to do that. Jalen Brunson is that guy. You want to put that comment in there as well? No one's stopping you. No one should be disagreeing with you either. He is that guy. I don't know what's going on in the NBA anymore. I'm going to stop recording now. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you, of course. Feel free to give us 5 stars there and just continue to spread the word. Nearly at 140 subscribers. We do appreciate it. I'm going to stop talking now before someone else blows another 20-point lead. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.